inheritance in PHP, and traits. Then we will also be brushing a brief on exceptions. Okay, so I know most of the time, I don't know if last time if I had used try and catch, and probably you might be asking what that does. So for today, I will likely be talking extensively about that today. So I'll be talking much, yeah, about exceptions, okay, on how to handle and then throw appropriate exception. And for projects today is going to be a little bit of project driven teachings. Okay, meaning I will try as much as I can to not only be talking. So we will be building an actual project based on what we learn today or what we'll be learning today. And the project we'll be working with is going to be a simple to-do list, all right? So yeah, so we've switched into another branch. So I don't expect us to see this any longer. So basically, you have to do your project. So for your task, your assignment for what is it called? For for stage 2, you are going to be building a to-do list. So I will start off this, all right, and allow you to continue from there. I'll just give you some basic idea and then leave some other things, all right, and then allow you to figure out some other things. But then I will also want to give you what I'm expecting to see, all right. So meaning this class is actually like a prerequisite so into this project. I don't know if anybody who is not in this class, gets to do what I don't think should be done. I don't know, but let's just see how it goes. But then know that this class is basically a kind of prerequisite, okay, to how this to-do list project should be done, or to how what I should be expecting to see. All right. So, but today mainly we'll be talking about OOP2, and we'll be talking about inheritance and abstract classes, uh, interface, traits, and of course exceptions. So I remember in last class we already talked about what's it called, classes, okay, where I did allow us to, when we created the class, then did some few things. We had properties in the class, and we also had methods in the class. And of course, the method did several other things we actually wanted them to do. And then I remember I took my time out to explain, each function of every section. And I also talked about access specifiers, okay, and how they are, what they are used for. And I think I also did talk about encapsulation right there. Yes, I did talk about encapsulation. In case you cannot remember already, I think I did talk about encapsulation, but you can go and read more about encapsulation so as to have a broader knowledge pertaining that. So for today, basically, like I did say, we'll be talking about inheritance. All right. So let's start with inheritance. All right. What is inheritance in PHP? So in PHP, inheritance is are just a concept, all right, where you most times inherit the property of either an abstract class or a class, all right. So and you do that using the extends keyword, all right. So assuming we have a class with some implementation and some implementation in this case, so they have a data members and as well they have a member functions, all right. Now if you are inheriting the class, so you are set to do what, to inherit both the data function, so both the data members and as well as the member functions of that particular class into the new class, all right. So in most cases, the child, all right, of a class inherit from the parent. Okay, see this like where your parent to be practical and to be core biology in this case, if you look at your parent and of course you are the child, you are, you know, you are the offspring of your parent. Okay, now if they do a DNA analysis of you, you will realize that you will only be a constituent of what, your parents. Okay, that is your father and your mother. You will be a constituent of them. So meaning you are going to inherit only properties from your parents. Okay, only properties from your parents. It doesn't matter how. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, sometimes your parents too can inherit properties from their parents too, like from their grandparents. Okay, for example, the property can be predominant. It can also not be predominant, but there is a fact that it does what it does exist. All right. For example, now, if my grandpa or happen to be a deaf person and my parents and my immediate parents happen to be if fair people, all right. If I have a child and my child happen to be dark and it's of course my child, what is going to be happening? It's said that my child has successfully what, inherited a property. It is not inheriting directly from my dad. It is inheriting directly from the child. My child is actually inheriting directly from me. All right. So that property has been there in me, but has not been what, predominant. So you can see them as, for example, where you have when you are inheriting from an extended class. Okay, when you are inheriting from a class that is inheriting from another class. All right. For example, let me write this out here. Uh, yeah. Now, if I have this class, grandpa, uh, I want to let me introduce something. Now there are things we call getters and setters. All right. So getter in every object-oriented programming concept, it's like most times it's a member function. All right, that does what, that sets, that retrieves, you know, properties of that instance. Okay, properties it retrieves. Getters always do what, retrieve properties from an instance. Getters in most cases setters in most cases does what, it sets, okay, initialize values into what, into a property. All right, so we can have color, we can have a setter and a getter here. So I can say get color, then I return what, this. Now I can also have what, well, in most cases I can have, I may choose to have this protected or whatever. But for now, I can have this protected function. All right, I can call it set color. String color. All right, so we just so you see that this works. So we have what sets. We have two method now. Set color and do what, get color. Of course, reading this code, you should be able to know what they do. All right. So setters does what, sets, you know, the properties of a particular blueprint, a particular what's it called, a particular class. All right, the properties here. For example, this setters does what, does retrieve, you know, this. Okay, so we can set them to whatever access specifier that we want to set them, depending on where we want them to be accessed and so on and so forth. For now, we have a class called grandpa. So I will have another class that, and of course, so extends grandpa. All right. So So okay, all right. So now we need to declare function, public function underscore construct. So now we have in this variable we do what? We do have so we do have what? We do have a color property, all right? And if we have another this thing, another class child constructs string and of course color default. So I will also call this construct. All right, and color. Extends dash. All right, so now there we go. Grand dash. New grandpa. I'm not going to include anything. Of course, we know the color is going to be what? The color in this case, the color is grandpa's color is what? Grandpa's color is dark. Or we can just say because it does what it does accept it. I can just but then for now we know that it is dark. All right. And I can just easily print underscore r Hold on. Okay, so I'm trying to build a very good logic that is going to be very much more understandable for you. So of course, then we have that. So that is not going to be new. That is going to be white. So this should not come anything. So yeah, the offspring should be this. Oh, okay. Hold on. So All right. So sorry, I needed to attend to someone. All right. Okay. Like I was saying, so we do have the offspring as a child. All right. So let me explain this again. All right. So we have a grandpa's class. All right. Remember, we are still talking about inheritance. Okay. Now, the default color. All right. Grandpa, of course, does have the dark color. All right. Now, although we have two functions, set color and what get color. All right. So now we have that. We have the dark class, and of course, that color is what is white. That color is white. So I'm going to set that here. You remember, I can still use the setter to set the color here, but let me just let it pass via the constructor. So if we run this, let's run it as here. Then I think from there I should be able to explain very well. So remember, inheritance, okay, is the concept of what? Inheriting properties from a base class into a child class. All right. So meaning all the data functions, sorry, the data members and then the member functions are all inherited into what? The extended class. In most cases, the child class. All right. So now in this case, remember I use your parents and your grandparents as the analogy. All right. So remember in this case, you have two set of generation right behind you, including of your granddad and your dad. In this case, normally your granddad was what? He was a dark person. Your dad came out to become fair person, all right? And now you are coming out to inherit, all right? Remember where I talked about predominant data members, okay, and non-predominant. Non-predominant data members can be, you can assume that they are those private data members, all right, or private data member functions, okay. Now we are doing what? We are trying to assess this color in respect to what? Inheritance. Remember where I told you, okay, in this case we have about three sets of inheritance. Remember the dad, okay, this dad's class is always going to be what? Is always going to be white, all right? It's always going to be white. Now we have a child inheriting from that dad, okay. Okay. Now this dad is inheriting what from what? From from the grandpa. Remember, the grandpa's color was what dark. So look at this. So grandpa's color is dark, and then we have, of course, the child's color is what is white. That's the dad's color is. Then why the child's color is what is dark? We have granddad's color is dark, dad's color is what white, and of course, child color is what dark. Now in default, what happened in default? In default, the grandpa's color is what is dark. Now, where is this one getting is dark from when it was not specified? Remember, when the dad was created, the color was specified here, but when this one was created, it was not specified. Okay. What is happening here? It has inherited, okay, it has inherited from this. Okay. So of course, if you look at the child class, we do not, and even should I say the next extended class, you could see that in both extended class we don't have anything, we don't have any method like share what's it called, get color. We don't have this accessor, but we can, we can have access to this method irrespective of our scope. Okay, we can have access to irrespective of where we are. All right. So you can see this is a method belonging to what? Grandpa. This is a method belonging to what? Grandpa as well. All right. So even the child is inheriting a member function belonging what? To the grandpa. All right. It is inheriting attributes belonging to what? To the to the parents. All right. Any question before I proceed? Okay, so in the absence of any question, I'll proceed. Then the next thing we'll be talking about is abstract classes. Okay, so what are abstract classes? Abstract classes in most cases does what? Contains both non-implementation and what? And blueprint, like directions. All right, but in most cases, actual implementation are done with abstract classes. Now, the main difference between abstract classes and a normal class is that you cannot, for example, now you see, I can have let me change, I'll change this to an abstract class. Now look at this. Cannot what? Instantiate. You cannot instantiate an abstract class, but an abstract class can do what? They can contain an actual implementation. All right. So, but what do you do to an abstract class? You can only extend abstract class. All right. Let me show you that. I'll just let me delete the whole of this and then so you can see we have that, okay, which color is what is white and which of course child color is what is dark. Now if you inspect again, so you see that in the dark and whatever, and the Sorry. Okay. So like I did said, the beautiful thing of abstract classes contain actual implementation. You can also provide an abstract what's it called, an abstract method like this. So now, if I am trying to, so this is like giving, this is like we are using it like an interface. Okay, so each whatever that is implementing that class or extending that class have to provide that method. So you can see unexpected token. So now, so you can see that does not implement method gets color. All right. So that's already throwing an error. Now every abstract method must be implemented by whatever that is inheriting that class. All right. You can see class that contains one abstract method that must be declared abstract, or that must be declared abstract or implements the remaining methods. Okay. So it is either I implement the method, okay, or I get it declared. All right. So this is in most cases when you do not, when you want to have one simple class that acts like both an interface and an actual class, okay. But you cannot do what, you cannot instantiate that class. All right. So now the next thing is interface. So interfaces are like they are like guidelines, okay, for programmers. All right. For example, if you are intending to use or to create a class, and of course you want some certain class to have some certain base functions, all right, without actually implementing those classes, like you are giving yourself some guidelines. So interface provides that flexibility for you to do what, to declare abstract method blueprints that must be implemented, okay, that must be implemented on the base class. So for example, I can have this interface uh, interface maybe test, and of course test must do what. For now everything should work well, so let me show you that. So before I proceed, so this is because that does not what have get color. Let me just test this error for you so that you can see them. So we've actually, so everything works fine now. Now look at this. If I do this, implements or test. So you can see that, the error comes back again. That does not implement get color method. Now, if I want to rerun this, so for you to see it, so you can see, all right, class that contains one abstract method that must what therefore be declared as abstract or implemented. Implement the following method. Okay, this. If I have to get past that, I have to implement this. So in some cases, this is not going to work because, but then, so automatically, because we have that, we have this get color implemented in what? Implemented in the grandpa class, and the grandpa is being what is being extended, so everything should just work fine. Didn't I save that? Yeah, so we're done. So you can see now everything works very fine. So you can see that color is what white, and the entire color is what is black. Now we move to the next thing. So what are traits? Traits are just simply, okay, they are just class that contains a helper that can be reused, like that can be used, in class. You can inject them into class, but their their member functions and of course their member functions and data functions can act as an even individual data functions right there. For example, I can have a trait here to abstract all these things. Let me keep it at the top. Traits, traits. Let me call it attributes. Now I'm going to pull this out and then fix it here. So I'll pull this out as well. And fix here. So yeah, then the next thing I should do is just use attributes. And of course, I'm good to go. So you see everything works fine. But what happens if I remove this? So you should see things go haywire. All right. So call to undefined method, whatever this is, okay? But then the use method allows these things to be of like there are of course member functions and data members of this very class, okay? So yeah, now enough of this thing. So today, like I did say, we're going to talk about briefly about we are going to use what's it called to-do list to do this very practical. I see time is running very fast, but then I intend to end this class exactly 2:30 so that I can prepare for the next class. I wouldn't want to keep the next guys waiting. Oh, okay. So we move. I'm even thinking if I can even get this done very fast. But if I don't get it done, so you will of course go and get a template for you to be able to do what to spin the UI for it. But I'll sure see how far I can do with that. So I'll remove that. And so let's try with let's start with the creating an app folder. The next thing I should another folder. So this folder should contain a new file. Yeah. JSON-traits.php.
So then I'll just copy the previous method, okay, and then just paste them right there.
So yep. So the next thing we can just resources. Then I'll just say new folder JSON. JSON. Uh, so I'll leave that there. And the next thing is probably I think the next thing we should have for classes. What was all this now? Yeah, I think so now. So we have two different classes here. I'll have to-do list. Of course, What's all this? I don't know. Probably maybe I might not be using to what's it called again? So use what's it called? Why once that should go back. So straight stroke. Exactly. So we have that class instance here. Okay. JSON manipulator. Now in to do this, so most times we will have create, and of course we will have should be array, and of course so array data. So let's just I don't know what we did call it again. Is it file directory or what? So inside JSON file directory, yeah. So string. So I have this already. I have a, of course, Yep. So we have reset. So okay, now I will just do something. Now we want to do a little bit of validation, okay? Title, we have title. Yeah, we should have title and what again? We have title and descriptions. And of course, the next thing should be completed. All right. Sorry about that. So now, of course, now so we are doing some validation here. So to make sure that it's set to lower key, all right? So now, what is an exception? So an exception is, an easier form of you handling what errors. Okay. So this is, for example, you do want to, you actually want to do some stuff. For example, you actually want to check for this entry. So instead of writing some funny ifs, okay, and then trying to do some other something, things, so you can easily throw an exception. So when something goes wrong, so it can easily just throw this, the execution can just stop, or you can just easily do some few things. I can throw this exception, okay, and then handle it upon the call. If it is this type of exception, you can do so and so and so, okay. Now, there are two ways, okay. You can either throw an exception, you can also catch an exception, and as well as, we can develop custom exception as well. I think in when we go down to the what's it called intermediate level, that's when we'll do deeply about developing custom exception, or maybe when we start talking about Laravel, I think we can talk about developing custom exception. So for you to develop custom exception, so you just all you need is just to extend this exception class, okay, and you should be able to do what you want to do. So for now, then if that is the case, so else. So the next thing I want to do is just basically so I just want to turn out the key to what to nowhere, and of course equals value. So we should be done. So hold on. So I need to power down my. So yeah, so we should have a very good atmosphere now. So I'll just say final data. Final data, of course, yeah, final data. So we have that up and running. So the next thing is just set this, and we should be done. So this is what insert does. So to-dos should just return us the list of to-dos. So this gets, right? I think in the traits, so we do have hold on. So we should have all the list of to do here. So now the next thing should be mark completed. Okay. Not mark. Not then. The first is I think each to-do should have an ID entries, title, ID. To-do ID. So for now, stays like this, and or I can just so yeah, I think this should be okay. 100,000 and 500,000 within the range of 100,000 and 500,000. Yeah. So we have the ID now. Okay. And the next thing to do is actually accepting to-dos, inserting to-dos, get to-dos. This is being implemented. What is the next thing we need to do? This is an abstract class. And of course, in the main class, so we should have to do the PHP require once. Okay, require once. Then I'll just include the directory. So we have of course we have abstract classes stroke. Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I think we have this now. To do an extends to do list. And of course, so we do have function constructs, and of course, I'll just this is going to be optional. Just an empty array, or just no. Yeah, so automatically we should have this, and then we should have this, and of course, we should have this in the instance. So now the next thing we will be doing, we should be doing is actually calling out what's it called? Calling out so let's say attaching our form. There is a function PHP do uses to get absolute path directory. Okay. So this application is going to be is always going to be hosted here. So that should be app stroke whatever that is being called. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we should have the instance now.
So why do you decide to?
I didn't get. Pardon?
Sorry, I did not raise my hand. So I wanted to ask, why do you decide to use the dir there? Okay, I think.
Okay. This is for in quick for quickly resolving what's it called path this path directory. Okay, this thing here. So now I can host it anywhere, and before you know, so this should change. The pattern should change. Is either I have to go back or come inside. If I'm hosting it from, for example, here, this place, so it means that I just have to go back. All right. But most times, since I'm going to be, hosting it directly here, so it means it's coming inside of here at once. So I have this to be, wherever I'm out. So I know it is being hosted here, and you are going from here. Like you're going from this thing here. So this is just your direct server route. Okay. So you are going from the server route and then attaching the file straight from your server route.
Okay.
So I think this will, I don't think there will be time for us to test this application, but I'm going to push it because the time is already gone. Like I said, I need to, I need to actually prepare for the next class. Require once. So I should require what? So slash what's it called, app slash classes slash ToDo.php. So doing that, I have instances. I should have instances of all of them. So now I should do something like if I set of course we will likely be sending to those over. So now you can do all right. So I should easily just have something like Now I can now call this, I can now call insert on this. After I'm done with my validation, okay, I can now do something like this. I can also do some other random stuff, okay? But for now, so we will have to, any question before I just dump this code. So I think we should have another class that is not on the timetable so that let's finish this up. I want us to finish it up together.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay. I think so. I think so. Okay. So, like a quick
So,
question I have on this,
all right.
though it might be covered when we would be finishing the stuff up. But okay, so for the form handling that we did previously, it was just a single button. That's the submit button. And usually we
Okay.
just write like a code to handle that runs when the submit button is clicked. So here on the classes you created, I see users can create new to do. They can delete a to do, and then they can yeah. So how do we write the code now that we have like multiple buttons? We will likely be having multiple buttons on the same page.
Okay, that's a good question. So there are different ways to handle it. So you can either handle them by their request type, okay, by putting a different button and different form to reroute to different, what's it called, different route, okay. You can do them on the same form using some techniques that I wouldn't want to. Should we talk about that? But that is going to be really be a complicated issue. But then you can do that. So by simply maybe putting the same route and then of course hitting just the same route, but differentiating different what's it called, different actions to make. You can have a hidden input in your this thing, in your form, to be for example, you can have that input, for example, an action input in your form to be something like delete or insert, or of course edit, and some other stuff like that. So you can have this convention. Then another way is that you can create several pages, okay, where you just do these things per pages. But then my approach, I think the next class, so we'll cover the approach for now. So I think that next class will be able to answer your question perfectly.
All right, thank you. Okay, so please, if you push the code, I think the last time we forgot to ask for the URL of the repo. So you please drop it for us.
Okay. All right. Tofikat, any question? Okay, so in the absence of any question, so see you some other time. Kenneth, go on. Time is really against
Okay.
me.
Okay, yeah. So you said we might likely have a different class before Friday. So should we do it like we did the other time? Let you know the time, or you let us know the day and the time.
Okay, come up with your time. So let me see if that suits up well with me, so we can continue. If that doesn't suit well with me, so we might have to do it on Friday.
Okay. All right.
All right. So in the absence of no question, so see ya on next class.